If you want to influence people, from my experience, this is the way to do it. If you don't understand this, people are going to hate you because you're going to be the type of person that is just explaining and trying to force your ideas on them to try to change them. And the fact is, you can't change people. There are 3 points I'm going to make in how you can influence people, but not change them. You can influence them to change, but you can't actually change them. Point 1 being, they need to find their why. Point 2, when they finally find their why, they need to be consistent and put the reps in. Point 3 is, when explaining and influencing other people, you need to be able to stand in their shoes, because the knowledge you have versus the knowledge they have, when you explain the thing that you're trying to explain, you need to simplify it so that it meets their knowledge level. Because if you explain it using vocabulary and the experience that you have, it's just going to go over their head and they're going to not have as much understanding as if you were to match their knowledge level. So step 1, they need to find their why. For example, I started working out 5 years ago in high school, and I did it because I was insecure, I was really skinny, and I wanted to be fit. I wanted to have a nice aesthetic body that I would be proud of. If I were to walk out on the beach or go to the pool without my shirt on, I would want to be, you know, proud of what I put my hard work into and how I look. And I also wanted a girlfriend. And so that was my reason. That was my brick wall. When it was finally hard enough for me not to tolerate, I finally decided I'm gonna work out. And for me, working out has changed my life. But that was my why. That was my breaking point. It's gonna be different for everyone, and especially in different scenarios for different reasons. Somebody's why and why they might start guitar, or why they might start playing a sport, or why they might open their mind to a different process is all gonna be completely different. Point 2, when you find your why and the person that you're trying to influence finds their why, and so they actually decide to commit and change, they need to put the reps in. Because bodybuilding and working out has actually changed my life, all of my experience and examples will be in working out, because it is one of my most favorite things to do, first of all, and it's just something I do every day. So for example, let's say you're an extreme beginner, you have never touched a barbell, and you're about to do your first rep of bench, and when you get under the bar, grab the bar, your feet are on the ground, your back's on the bench, your head's hopefully on the bench, assuming the bench isn't too small, and you go to press the bar up, it's a little wobbly, and you lock out, but maybe one side of the bar is higher than the other, and it's not completely parallel to the floor, and then you go down and you do 6 more reps, and then you don't feel anything. You know why you don't feel anything? It's because you don't have that mind-muscle connection. You don't have the repetitions to where your muscle just know what to do because it's done it over and over. So you need to be consistent to build that mind muscle and muscle memory. The more reps you put into a new thing, the more kinks you'll take out, and the more smooth and effortless the movement or thing will be. And in this case, the better and more efficient your bench will be. Step 3, standing in the beginner's shoes. You need to be able to stand in their shoes, because when somebody comes to you for your insight on something that you're knowledgeable in, you need to be able to simplify what you know down to their knowledge level. Because if you use your vocabulary and your knowledge from your experience and your expertise, and you explain it to a beginner, your knowledge and explanations are all the way up here, but it doesn't make sense to the beginner because they don't understand some of the words that you're saying, or the phrasing that you're using, or the analogies you're using, because they've never done this before. So you need to be able to simplify it and maybe even dumb it down so that they can understand it. And the more that they actually understand what you're trying to tell them, the more helpful and influential you can actually be. This is very important when it comes to anything, because you want to explain things from your point of view, because you don't know everything. So don't try to sound like you know everything. You can tell people what has worked for you from your experience, and what things you may know are factual from studies, or you just know based on repetition and experience. But always be humble in your knowledge, and always understand where the beginner is, and maybe even the struggles that they're going through and why they haven't started earlier. If you learn how to influence people in this video and you learn something, then I want you to influence the subscribe button and smash it. And I have a list of people that I have learned from in my profile that I put together for you. It's a picture of the influencer. So for example, it's a picture of Jeff Nippard or Alex Hormozy or Patrick Bet-David or Graham Stephan. If you recognize any of these names, these are all people that I have watched and learned from, and I have a whole list of the people that I have learned from, listened to, read their books, and I find them very valuable, and I made a list of all these people and links to their YouTube channels and podcasts. So if you want to check that out, whether you just want to see maybe who I've been watching, or you want to learn from some of these people, because they talk on a vast variety of topics from business, mindset, success, money, finance, cooking, working out, nutrition. There's so many things that I am personally really interested in and that really intrigue me and I like to learn about. And what I personally love to do is to learn new things and implement them into my life so that I can optimize and make my life the best that it can possibly be. So if that sounds interesting to you, go to my profile, click the link, and it'll be right there. There's no opt-in, there's no email, there's no password. It's just click the link and it'll bring you right to the page.